What's happening, people? I'm Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. What's happening? So, let's see here. So, this is, we're going to be talking about everybody's favorite person. Long time ago, this cat busted onto television in a TV show called Bosom Buddies. And we're all old here. So, probably going to be some people here that remember that. You also probably saw a thumbnail. I'm going to go over a little hi-ho in a second. But you probably saw that thumbnail, and you're looking at, that's a skit, right? That's not him actually hanging out with a younger. However, you talk about a skit that's in bad friggin' taste. I don't know if you ever watched this, right? Did not age well. You know what I'm saying? It's a 13-year-old skit. You know where he did that? He did that on the Jimmy Kimmel program. Let's see a little of this, shall we? Let's see what we got here. So, let's see. That right there is a picture of Tom Hanks with a small tiara-sized pint that is up on stage. Now, this is a skit that was done on the Jimmy Kimmel program, and it's kind of supposed to be mocking the tots with tiaras kind of a thing. Some of the stuff that this kid says to Tom Hanks in this, like yelling from the front of the stage, talk dirty to me in the most seductive, voice and face that you could. It's disturbing as hell to watch. I'm sorry. It's disturbing as hell to watch. And if you've ever watched Jimmy Kimmel from, say, back in his early days, here he is with the girl. By the way, this isn't his daughter. Somebody was talking about this earlier and said, well, it is his daughter. No, it's not. It's not his daughter at all. Looked up the name of the actress, the small actress who played this part. Absolutely not his daughter, but made for a funny skit. The idea is that he's taking his daughter around to all of these. It's disturbing as hell, folks. It's absolutely disturbing. And the dialogue and all of that is foul. It's enough to make you want to vomit. Seriously. Jack Port, I'm sorry to hear about your back. And before this is over, we throw in, let's get him in there too, shall we? Why not? Now, both of these guys, by the way, are on the Scott Baio list. You guys seen the Scott Baio list? Come on, you saw it. Tell the truth. You saw the Scott Baio list, right? The Scott Baio list is the list of stars that Scott Baio has thrown out. By the way, Tom Hanks and his wife are on that list. So is Richie Cunningham. Ron Howard's on the list as well. Here's the deal, people. Whether or not you believe this stuff or not, there's a crap load of smoke. There really is. There's a crap load of smoke. I was doing a deep dive on Jimmy Kimmel the other day, and it's a lot of fun to watch him in his really old skits, following women around and sticking his nose, say, 3 inches behind their backside, sniffing as the photographer films women unaware of the fact that he's doing this behind him. Stuff that probably wouldn't fly until 2024. You understand what I'm saying? The stuff from the Man Show that he used to do with Adam Carolla. Look, I realize that different times and whatever, but for him to play the role that he plays now is kind of disturbing. You go back and watch some of that stuff, but I encourage you. I'd have got I promise you, I would have got a strike if I tried to play the video. We talked about it, but if I had played the video, we'll get a strike. I promise. The people over at the Kimmel Show will be all over me like stink on crap. Sweet Liberty, good to see you. Kiki, how are you? Hey, Donna. Alice Metcalf Palumbo, not late, she says. I'm not sure about that. James Collin cares. Hey, KK, how are you? Sandy Wendy, Jane Aldridge, Kristen Melinda, how are you? Jason P, the nurse who loved me. Cindy G, Avina Sativa. Chrissy from Maui, how are you? Chrissy from Maui. Sandy Wendy. Let's see. Viggy Cat, how are you? Leanne, doing all right? Catching another one. Good to have you. Incarna Soul. Sweet Liberty. I'm really sorry. That sucks, man. I've done that so many times in my life, and it is not fun at all. Debbie! Hanks is a distant cousin of yours. Oh, no. Really? He's a lowlife. We're going to go over this. For real. We're going to go over this. He is not a good dude. I'm sorry. He is not a good dude. You're out of the Tom Hanks loop? Well, I'm going to bring you up to speed. Stick around. This is going to be a quick one, I promise. Pull out the wood chippers, right? Dust them off and let's tune them up. That's right. That's right. See if you can get one that's two-stroke. Wing, wing, wing. You know what? The four-stroke ones don't get the job done. Two-stroke. I'm glad you made another live, too. Rick Spicer, good to see you. Hey, Cindy G. Nurturing, I find natural. Well, how about? The Scott Baio list was priceless, was it not? Diane O'Connor. it makes you wonder, right? Is Scott Baio just taking this and shooting it from the hip? Because it could be BS. Mayor's girl, how are you? Lynn, what's up? Hey, Danette McClure. Diane O'Connor. I understood. I knew who the pig comment was for. You didn't hurt my feelings. I know who a pig is. I promise you. If I was ever one, I'm not one now. But I was never one like that, man. Honest to God. I mean, I wasn't that dude in elementary school. You watch some of the stuff from Kimmel back in the day. I hate that he is now the arbiter of what is of what's a stand-up dude. Honestly, makes me want to friggin' vomit. But I would recommend that you just type into Google, right? Tom Hanks, Tiara, and Tots parody Jimmy Kimmel show. This was a production number. It really was. They put a lot of effort into this to put this onto the Jimmy Kimmel show, and it is disturbing. Now, here's the thing. You could say, come on, it's a joke. How many times, right? How many times? I think over on the behavior panel might call it Duper's Delight. They seem to take all kinds of fun in throwing this in our face. How many times have you seen on talk shows where people go on and go, oh, man, have you been to so-and-so's pizza parties? You've not lived. Nobody makes pizza like him. You know the one I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about, right? Ellen DeGeneres used to have these people on all the time to talk about who made the best pizza. You went to these pizza parties. They're throwing it in your face. They're constantly throwing it in your face. It's disturbing. Funny thing happened, though, with old Forrest Gump, right? Old Tom Hanks's kid. Tom Hanks's kid started telling a lot of stories out of school, right? A lot of really weird stuff. Mo Freestyle, how are ya? And one of the things that he came out with was when he started doing a little dope, started selling a little dope, started acting like, I don't know, 50, 60% of the society does when they hit his age, right? Became an ass. He did, became an ass. And he had a lot of money, right? He had a very rich father. He was famous, and I was watching him. I was deep diving the kid. And he said, it's very, very disturbing. It's a very different kind of a life when you're famous. But you're famous for being famous. Kestrel 42, how are you? I mean, honestly, what's he famous for? Because his dad was Forrest Gump. Not because he did anything in his life, and I'm not busting his chops. He went on to start making some music and getting pretty into it. And I don't know. It's not my brand. Not my brand. You understand. But I'm not here to judge the cat, right? Maybe it's great music. Again, not my brand. However, hey, Whoopi, it doesn't matter much. What does matter is right in the middle of his chest, he's got this great big eye, right? It's an eye. Sits in a pyramid. You've seen this eye before. Usually sits at the top of, right? Those. Anytime you see the I word, right? Anytime you see someone talking about the Illuminati, you're going to see that. It's on the back of the $1 bill, right? It's that all-seeing eye that floats over the top of the pyramid, right? You're familiar? Okay, well, he's got it big as hell in the middle of his chest. And when he does the interview, he points to it and says, my dad's deep into the Illuminati. He ain't pulling punches. He says, my dad is deep into the Illuminati. When the kids started partying, what did dad do? We've talked about tough love before, right? Kick your kid out, right? I don't want to deal with him. I don't want to have to look at him. Tough love isn't I kick my kid out of my house. It's I keep my kid in my house and I don't leave his side or her side. I take the door off of the bathroom so they can't get high in there, right? That's tough love. I tie myself to their belt loop. They ain't going nowhere. That's tough love. The other deal isn't. I'm kicking you out because I don't want to deal with you. That's not tough love, right? I'm not dealing with this. I'm not dealing with this. I'm sorry. It's turning your back. I don't care what it is. Now, he did it the way rich people do. He had his kid kidnapped for all intents and purposes. I'm sorry, man. That's what it looks like. They grab his kid, send him to a rehab, but this isn't your normal rehab. This is more like Outward Bound. I don't know if you're familiar with Outward Bound, but this is where you grab kids, throw them out in the middle of friggin' nowhere, right? Put them on a boat, have that boat go out to an island that's half of an acre that floods, at high tide, and dump 3 or 4 kids out there, tell them not to talk to one another, and you'll be back when you're back. For real, this is the kind of crap they did. This lost favor years ago when kids started to die. Not great for your business model. And that tough love crap, most of the kids who went through that did not end up in good shape. Not too surprised, says Jeremy Fowler. I think a lot of people feel this way. Hey, Judy Jetson. You doing all right? Crucial Flow Research says Paris Hilton was also locked into a rehab and abused or something. Yeah, this rehab, though, is a little different. This rehab literally kicks you out into the middle of nowhere, and they leave you with a little bit of protein powder, and but you're out in nature. You're going to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet, right? They torture you is what they do. And this is supposed to bring people back into the fold. Hey, Kim. Hey, Kevin Hoffman from Lakeland, Florida. It doesn't work. I'm sorry, it doesn't. That doesn't mean that some of the people that go through that don't end up being good people at some point, but not because of that, in spite of it. It's a bad idea. And one of the things that really makes it the worst, and I understand there are people going, I don't know, Tommy, this is the kind of thing. Great. Okay. You can take that stand and I don't blame you. This could make somebody better. You don't take somebody, right? Take this from a convict, spent a lot of time in prison. If you tell somebody that you're going to take away freedom, if you tell somebody you're going to put them in the shoe, if you tell somebody they're going to go on to that unalive watch or anything where you're going to be in a more restricted place, they can put up with anything if they know how long they have to do it. But throw them in the shoe, turn the lights off, don't feed them anything, and just say, this could end in 4 days, this could end in 4 years. The person will go insane very quickly. Honestly, it's knowing how something's going to end or when something's going to end so that you can start putting marks on the wall. When we don't know when something is going to last, how long something's going to last, it will drive us nuts. You understand? It's a pretty frightening concept. Tommy isn't lying. I went to one called Academy of Swift River. It's like jail in the woods. Yeah, exactly. I know guys that did this. I know guys that did Outward Bound. I know guys that did, that was one, and the other one was called, oh, crap. I know a bunch of people that did them. And they're not a great idea. They're not a great idea. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, well, something? He makes a really great appearance. No joke. We've come to believe that this guy is just a little bit better, isn't he? He's that star that makes you feel warm and fuzzy when you watch him, right? I mean, he was Castaway. He was Forrest freaking Gump, man. Right? This is a guy that you feel like he's not like that crowd out there. He's not. But his kid says he absolutely is. His kid said he didn't care about us. He didn't care about family. What he cared about was being somebody important among the people in Hollywood, right? That's his big thing. So's mom. That's what the kid says. Now, I'll tell you something. I don't know. I tend to believe that kind of stuff, man, for real, right? From a kid. Yeah, man, 13 months kind of effed up my life for a while. Many of these wealthy parents have no empathy. Real talk. Well, it's a hell of a lot easier, isn't it? Screw empathy. You can buy that stuff. You can buy that stuff. Kathy, good to see you. You can buy that stuff, man. Yeah. You don't have to put up with that. It's like all of the people that talk about short note says I fell asleep during Castaway. I don't blame you. He has this kind of weird thing going on with a volleyball. It's a strange film. It really is. It's kind of a strange film. And every time someone like Amanda Bynes or Kanye goes to rehab or mental health or a mental hospital, it's MK Ultra torture for his kid. Probably went through that too. If he caused trouble. Yeah, right? Well, he's still causing trouble, right? Now he's causing trouble. Now the kid's starting to talk. And I hope nothing bad happens to him, and I'm not being a wise ass, right? Because these people seem to really protect that which they are into. And you know what? I don't know exactly what they're into. But there's a whole lot of smoke that they're into young kids. That their buzz is to try to murder the soul of children. It seems to me that this is their go-to, and there's just too many people talking about it. People, come on, man. I don't want to be one of those people that believes everything. I don't. You know something? But I don't want to be one of those people who go, oh, come on, man. There's no way. That kind of crap doesn't happen. We know it does. Make me a list of child stars that have just done fantastic, right? Or that did fantastic and say, let me tell you what a great experience it was for me. being a child star. Let me tell you how well I was treated within the industry. Never did anybody do anything that made me feel uncomfortable or like they were coming on to me or anything was weird. Does that person exist? Because I promise you, I haven't found them. I haven't found them. That casting couch is something, isn't it? Every country. You realize this? Start doing a deep dive on how many places around the world have come up with this exact same kind of case. Human trafficking, right? All of it. And the common denominator is what? The common denominator is, I want to be a star, man. I want to be a rock star. I want to be an actress or an actor. I want to be a model. I want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine or in the pages of Abercrombie and Fitch, right? Not wearing any clothing to sell clothing. They had a catalog which allegedly did not show an article of clothing until the 150th page or some such crap. Nude people for the first 150 pages to sell clothing. Why not? Right? Hey, they're old enough, right? They're not underage. Within 2 or 3 days, they like to get them right around that 18-year mark. It's just creepy as hell. Creepy as hell. Tom Hanks was posting cryptic messages on Twitter like kids' socks and baby pacifiers before he quit the platform. You know what one of his other favorite things to do was? He liked taking pictures of one glove anywhere he could find them. Are you guys hip to this? He would find a glove on the street. He would take a picture of it. He would find a glove over in the Central Park. He'd take a picture of it. He'd find a glove on the subway platform. One, take a picture of it. Anytime somebody dropped one. Artistically, I get that, right? I get that. You're thinking to yourself, where's the other one? What happened, right? In a hurry, running. Did you already lose the other one and just go, screw it and throw it on the ground? What happened? Makes you wonder. I can see the artistic thing. Trouble is this. In several of the pictures that he posted, there was graffiti on the ground or scrawled onto the side of a building, right? Scratched into something. Weird letters. They never meant anything. So you start Googling them. Take those letters and Google them, see if something comes up. And then you get disappointed because nothing does, right? Nothing. Take those same letters and initials and run them onto that other web, right? Using that router that I'm not going to talk about on here because I'm not trying to get people to go to that part of the web. But if you do it there, guess what comes up? The ability to order pizza that ain't pizza. You know what I'm saying? Google this stuff. Think I'm wrong? Go take a look at it. I'm not the first person to talk about this. There's a bunch of people to talk about it. People, I'm not the first person to talk about anything. Has that occurred to you? I bring you the convict perspective. But I'm telling you, there's a whole lot of crap out there on this guy. And I would like to like him. I really would. Isaac Kappy called out Hanks a few years back, and he ended up jumping off of a bridge. Well, it's funny you say that, isn't it? Isn't it? This guy came out. I was going to get to this. Isaac Kappy came out and he said something. He was an actor, had been in a couple of films, had done some bit parts and some things, and some halfway decent-sized parts and some other things, but not a leading man, but you'd recognize him. And he said, this guy's a you-know-what. P-word, right? Yeah. He told me he was. This is what the guy said. He claimed that Mr. Hanks told him he was into kids, right? And this went on for a long time. Doubled down on it. Went kind of crazy on it. Then, out of the blue, he makes a video and goes, I was wrong. I really was. I was chasing something down. I was wrong. Whatever I said, it's not true. I'm wrong. Right? Honestly, that was a mistake. I just want you to know that. However, I'm not wanting to hurt myself. Do you understand? I'm happy being who I am. He used the S word I can't use on here, but you know the one I'm talking about. I am not, you know what, right? I don't intend to hurt myself with the S word. I don't intend to do that. Then he flung himself off of a bridge shortly thereafter. Because who doesn't say, I have no desire to end my life or hurt myself? And then you go jump off a bridge. Checks out, right? Yeah. These conspiracy theorists. You guys wear tinfoil hats, man. Really believe that? This is Forrest Gump, for God's sakes. Right? This guy's an icon in Hollywood. Want to have a little fun? You remember old Ricky Gervais? I'm sorry. I love that dude. I really do. And I shouldn't. He's not my kind of guy. He really isn't. But boy, oh boy, did he light him up, huh? When he went there and started making jokes about Epstein. Remember this? And everybody went, ooh. He goes, don't do that. He's not my friend. He's your friend. And they filmed Tom Hanks. The second Gervais said, he's not my friend. He's your friend. They filmed everybody in the audience. There was a lot of people that had that look like, that's not good. And then they filmed Tom Hanks. And he had that look like, hey, get your hands off of the breasts of my 6-year-old daughter. That was the look. It wasn't a, hey, somebody just, it was a, how dare you? This is my family you're messing with. The look on his face was as ugly as anything you've ever seen. He was pissed. He was a different kind of pissed. He was the kind of pissed that you'd probably have to really dig pizza. Doesn't make sense. Honestly, Google it. See if I'm wrong. Ricky did well, didn't he? He sure as hell did, didn't he? Vicky Cat says, I saw that. Really weird. Wasn't it though? Wasn't it though? Oh, I don't like Ricky Gervais either. He's not my kind of guy. He's just not. Boy, oh boy, he took him down that night, didn't he? Get up here, say your speech, right, and sit the F down. Nobody wants to hear from you. Stop telling us about what you care about. There was some funny stuff in there, man. Really funny stuff. Wasn't it? Started talking about streaming services. He said, come on, man, if Satan, or the Nazis were to come out with a streaming service, you'd be calling your agent tomorrow, wouldn't you? Not much funnier than watching somebody call people on their hypocrisy, right? Especially at a party, right? Especially at a party where everybody who kind of lives that hypocrisy got together to high-five each other and tell each other how cool they are, right? Honestly, that's what those award ceremonies are. When I was a kid, they were cool as hell. Do you remember watching them? Honestly, you get excited for them. The red carpet, people would walk down there. Like I'd sit with my parents and there'd be these stars and crap, and my parents would talk about them. I had no idea who any of them were. Remember that? You'd be like, look how old these people are. Then your parents would say stuff like, wow, did he get old, right? It was so cool. It really was. It was a part of my life. My kid didn't get that. He didn't, right? And sure as hell, spanks his kids when he has them. They're not going to get that, Hey, is that Zip Zip? Hold on a sec. Squirrel and Zipper, come in here. They were just calling for you. Sorry, folks. I had to raise the voice a little bit. When I get really loud, Squirrel comes in to hang out. Something about my voice. When I raise it and start doing this when she shows up. So, yeah, there will be cat in the basket. It was really odd, Vicky Cat. It was really odd. Yeah, it's a different feeling now, isn't it? And I hope that people that are watching this that maybe haven't been following all this stuff, right? You don't have to learn every single thing about this case, right? Whether the case be Diddy, whether the case be Tom Hanks, his wife, any of the other people that allegedly have already had everything on earth that they can possibly experience. They've tasted it all. Right? Traveled to all of the places, done all of the drugs, spent the money, driven the cars, had the jewelry, the watches, right? The clothing, the houses, the vacations. Then what? Well, apparently then you start vacationing on islands that other people don't go to. Start coming up with code words for things that no one else on planet Earth would do. Right? You start feeling like the world is here for you to enjoy. And even if you have to hurt people in the process of that, doesn't matter, because you're not like the rest of the people on planet Earth. See, you're special. You're part of this new royalty, right? New royalty. Tom Hanks is tight with Spielberg. Spielberg was part of the, well, you know something? It keeps coming back to the same kind of stuff. And I'm tired of watching people do stuff in plain sight. Go, when this is over tonight, I promise you, I would have got a strike. If you're just getting here, let me show you what this looked like, right? This is a show. I mean, this is a comedy routine that was done on the Jimmy Kimmel program about 13 years ago. That this is supposed to be Tom Hanks's daughter. And the comedy routine is he's going to Miss Sexy Baby Nevada. What do you think? Funny? Pretty funny, right? Miss Sexy Baby Nevada, where the kid on stage yells down to Tom Hanks in the hands, to the side of her mouth, trying to be sexy. Talk dirty to me. She yells down to Tom, who spritzes this young girl when she goes to eat cookies because they're getting ready for a pageant. I understand it's a joke, people. Everybody gets it. It's a joke. Trouble is, the people in this joke with their arms around little kids, well, there's a lot of smoke around these people, right? And the smoke says, maybe this is actually what's going on. And it wouldn't be the first time. It wouldn't be the first time that they throw it in your face, right? They're out there in your face telling you, this is what we do, right? Deal with it. Deal with it. This is our world, right? And you go, come on, man. Out in the open like this? Is it really like this? Is it that friggin' bad in Hollywood? You betcha. You betcha it is. You guys ever heard of Bryan Singer? No apologies, by the way. No apologies. You've seen his movies. You probably loved him. He did a lot of Marvel stuff, right? Bryan Singer's done a lot of stuff for Marvel. Super successful, right? He's considered a genius. He's also known to the entire world as being somebody that throws parties for underage kids basically every weekend, right? Allegedly, this guy hasn't hung out with anybody his own age since that would have been legal, right? This is a guy that just likes young boys, and the whole world knows about it. You don't believe it? They've been joking about it on Family Guy, and I don't mean joking, ha ha. I mean taking digs at this dude since I started watching it, right? Come here, kitty. Come on. Come here. What are you doing? Yeah, you can let her out. Bryan Singer's disgusting, right? He's disgusting. But it's been in our face for decades. Decades. There's nobody out there that doesn't know who this guy is. They don't work with him in Hollywood anymore. You go, yeah, well, it's about time. No. They don't care. They don't care. They don't care if while he's filming, he has 16-year-olds in the dressing room. But if he's not bringing dollars in anymore, then they're going to get rid of him. And now they might even start letting people know that he's kind of a sicko. Not while he's still making money, though. See what happened with Bryan Singer? Why are we talking about what a scumbag he is? Well, because his drugs got out of control. Wasn't the kids. It was the drugs. Once you start partying real hard and you start nodding out when you're supposed to be yelling action, yeah, no joke. That's what was happening in Bryan Singer's career. And that kind of derailed him. Now people don't want to work with him. But you know what? They didn't care. They didn't care at all. Kim, you don't know who he is, but you know his movies. Did you ever see a film called The Usual Suspects? See, this is one of the problems, right? This is one of the problems. Is that, in all honesty, right, what we tend to do is we tend to go and watch films, right? The Usual Suspects, one of my 3 favorite movies of all time. Unbelievable film, right? Unbelievable film. While it's going on, one of the stars was allegedly doing things to young boys. One of the stars was allegedly doing things to young boys on the set. That's an issue, right? Well, the director was too. But on the bright side, they put out a hell of a movie. So it was kind of forgotten about. And this is what that industry is. However, they've been talking about Bryan Singer for a really long time. And they've been talking about Kevin Spacey for a really long time, who was a star on that picture, by the way. He was the actor that allegedly was doing some stuff with the boys that were on the set. But it's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild that Hollywood is completely cool with this guy literally having kids in his dressing room, waiting for him on the breaks, because that's just what he's into. And you know what? If you're cranking out hits, they'll bring the kid to the dressing room. Keep it real. Keep it real. It doesn't become a friggin' issue until it's an issue. Until you're not making them any money anymore. And when you're not making them any money anymore and you're partying, guess what? I don't think he's going to make it out of this round. I think Bryan Singer is going to get nailed to a tree because he's just not productive anymore. When you're not productive anymore, they'll get rid of you. And I'll tell you who's not productive anymore. Sean Combs. The people, I don't know who they are. Right? I don't know who they are. I don't. But I'll tell you something. There's a they, and they're tired of him. He is no longer making them happy. So they are getting rid of him. That's what's happening with Sean Combs. We have been watching this happen in this scumbag industry of entertainment forever, right? Forever. Clive Davis is 130 years old. But Clive Davis has been doing this since he was younger than me. How did these people not get caught? Well, because it's just part of the industry, isn't it? You wanna be famous? Here's what you're gonna do, right? You want to be famous? Here is what you are going to do, right? It's that simple, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, we really can't say that they, can we? We'll be in a lot of trouble if you do. I'll be out of business, man. I'll be out of business. What about the parents literally looking the other way? Says Steph, 22 years sober. Congratulations on the 22 years. That never gets tired. Well, did the parents look the other way? I don't know, right? I did a show on Nickelodeon. And we talked about the great guys that worked at Nickelodeon. And they would say to the parents, we're taking your kids to a pool party. We're going to be doing a photo shoot out for a pool party. All of the stars of this show are all going to be going out there. We have a luncheon set up for you guys where you're going to be able to talk to some agents about your kids and other projects coming up. And the parents just went off to those buffets while their kids went and put on bikinis and bathing suits, right? Pre-teens. What? I friggin' promise you, people, if that had been Spanx Calhoun and they said, hey, we're heading over to a pool party, I'd go, where at? Let's go. Oh, no, you're staying here. No, I'm not. I promise you. And that would have been my son. If it had been my daughter, when the guy said, hey, we're going to a pool party, I'd have punched him in the friggin' throat. He never would have got through the end of that sentence. I'm sorry. But it's not done day one. It's like everything else. It's like every other cult on planet Earth, right? You don't show up day one and they go, hey, how you doing? I understand your kid's here for an acting job. Guess what? We're putting them in a bikini. We're taking her out to a pool and we're going to take pictures of her all day. We're going to take you over here and start getting you some drinks. We are going to sexualize your kid. None of that. They sit you down and go, welcome to the family. Nickelodeon is about wholesome entertainment. We want nothing more than for your child to have a great experience here. And then this much more every day. Just a little this much more every day, right? Until the people you've put in charge, you're so cool with letting these people run wild that they changed the logo to a foot because the guy writing most of the hit shows had a foot fetish, like looking at little kids' feet. Think I'm making that up? I'm not. Or how about money shots? I'm not trying to bum anybody out here. This is triggering. But how about money shots? For real. Most of the scenes ended with prepubescent girls having some form of liquid or another sprayed all over their faces. Something exploding, but it was always just, if you go back, you can actually look up and have each one, instead of watching all of them, just like a montage of every time they do that, your breath will get caught in your throat. It happens once and you go, oh, that's probably not great taste. That kind of looked like something from a porn film. Why would you do that, right? Bad form. Somebody needs to, when it happens 45 times, right? When it happens to every single girl in every one of these shows, and it's just a recurring theme that happens again and again and again. Where are the parents? Well, they're cashing big paychecks. And who cares? It's a little slime or it's ink or, milk. What's the big deal? I don't know, man. Crazy thing is this. We don't get to where we're at today we all hopped off of the end of the cliff. Didn't happen like that. We walked the hell down it. As a society, as a world, we walked down. There was no hopping off the cliff. Nobody shoved us. We slowly walked down until we were at the pit. And it just seems like it's normal, man. More freestyle. I'll tell you something, man. Go look at it. Again, put it on here and watch how fast they give you a copyright strike. But go look at it. Just Google money shot endings from Nickelodeon. They'll give you a montage of them. And you're going to tell me that this was it wasn't an accident? It wasn't. And the kids weren't stupid. They weren't. Maybe in the beginning, maybe the first couple of them. But if you listen to Britney Spears' sister talk about it, no, she knew it was that. She knew what these sick. What these sick old men, right, were doing. One in particular. Disgusting fat man. You know what I'm talking about? Dan Schneider. Reprehensible human being, man. Reprehensible human being. But you know what? He said sorry. He said sorry. It's alleged that he knocked up some of the actresses. You hear that? Allegedly, he had to take someone down and get that child an abortion because of what he had done. That's alleged. But he's not being prosecuted. There's nothing happening to this cat. No, I mean, he might not be working there anymore, but you watch, he'll be back. Bank on it, he'll be back. And do you know why? Because he can crank out hits. They'll put up with a lot of crap if you can bring in money. I mean, they let this guy use this as some kind of really, really disgusting softcore kitty, I almost got this one demonetized. Softcore CP is what it is. Honestly, that's what it is. It's softcore CP. Nickelodeon. For all of that period of time. And you know something? Right here. Father of the Year. I plop my kid down in front of it every single day. I did. And at the time, I thought, you know what? Nickelodeon. It's not like he's on the internet looking at porn. What do I got to worry about? It's Nickelodeon, right? This is probably the safest place I could have my kid. This is kids' entertainment. I'm worried for Ariana. She's definitely in their web, and she's a sweet person with talent. They will squeeze out of her until the last drop. And then when they can make no more money, you know what? And she's another one that ended up getting sprayed with a lot of colored liquid in the face. Nothing wrong with that, right? It's nothing unusual about it. Nothing to look, nothing to see here, man. Nothing to see here. And you think that was for the audience? Honestly. Don't get me wrong, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there probably weren't some sick men out there watching that stuff every day. There were probably adult men out there that were really having a good time with that. But that's not what it was made for. It was made for Dan Schneider, right? It was made to make him happy. Sick. Really awful, man. Really, really awful. Herder of goats. I'm glad to hear that. I really am, man. We go live a lot. We do. Yeah, it's sad. Just me being me says, I'm not a hateful man, but I would do anything for my child. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you kidding? We live in a world that understands that. Really classic case. I know some of you have seen. It's a very famous case where a child was abducted by an instructor of his that was teaching the kid karate. And the guy took off with the child, the boy, and assaulted him, right, sexually over the course of a long period of time, but did not kill him. And they ended up finding the guy, and they were bringing him back. And this was way before 9/11, but they were bringing him through an airport when a guy who was talking on the telephone just turned with a gun and blew the guy's head off. It was the father of the boy that had been molested. A jury didn't seem to think that what he did was murder, because that is the world we live in, right? There's a little bit of justice in this world. There was some of it right there, right? They should have given that guy a bigger gun. But the Dan Connors of, the Dan Schneiders of the world, why is he not being prosecuted? How come he's not being prosecuted? Jarhead said, I remember that. I remember it too. I'm sorry, people. When I'm having really bad days, I watch it over again. Isn't that horrible? I'm sorry. It cheers me up. Here's what it is. Funny how that Nickelodeon logo foot also matches up pretty closely to the footprint of Jeffrey's Island. Crazy, right? I'm sure it's a coincidence. They did show that video on TV, Jarhead. They absolutely did. And you know what the crazy thing is? The first time it was showed on TV, it was live. It was live, which is probably why it ended up on TV, because they never would have let it in if it hadn't been. But they were filming the person coming in. There was actually a news reporter walking with a microphone and everything when Dad stepped out and went, "Pow," and did exactly what should have been done. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. You feel me? Sorry, not sorry. Any dad worth his weight in gold would have done it. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. You know what I mean? Would you say that the older generation let more of this kind of stuff slide in society? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I do. Sadly, I would say my generation, unfortunately, right? My kid was the Dan Schneider generation, right? My son was watching those TV shows. That was right in Spanx Calhoun's wheelhouse. And I plopped him down in front of it. I didn't know. I wasn't watching it. I wasn't watching kids crap. Why would I? Right? I just assumed it was safe. So did everybody else. So did everybody else. We didn't get hip to this because people watching television went, "Hey, what the hell are we doing here?" Right? This looks like softcore CP. What's going on? That's not what happened. No, the kids grew up. Right? The kids grew up and started saying stuff like, "This was messed up." You got any idea what a loser this guy was? Do you know he was taking these kids home? Do you know some of these kids spent the night at his house and kind of were living there? But he's not locked up, right? He's not locked up. In fact, he made a hell of a lot of money, right? Good at what he does. Successful. And then we wonder why the actresses from this, right? We wonder why they're all so messed up. Look at Amanda Bynes. I'm sorry, I'm not picking on the woman. I wish she wasn't, but you're going to tell me she hasn't been having a really, really hard time in life? That was a hell of a start. Why would it be so tough? You seen her? She's got tattoos on her grill. It's horrific, isn't it? Isn't it? If one child actress wound up that way, we'd go, God help us, what have we done? But it's never, remember Dana Plato? How many of these child stars that made a fortune end up doing porn and then dying? How many of them really ended up with a great life afterwards? It just doesn't happen. Who do we point to when we say, is there any child actresses that actually or actors that didn't end up weirdos? Did anybody get out solid? Well, sure. Ron Howard, right? Nothing happened to him. He's normal, isn't he? Right? Ron Howard. You guys remember him? That's from Happy Days. There he is. There he is. He ended up normal as hell, didn't he? Right? There he is. That's not his kid, by the way. How did that not make you feel creepy even 13 years ago? I'm sorry, man. Watch it and then tell me I'm wrong, man. Tell me I'm a friggin' prude. I'll take it. You know, tell me this is funny as hell and I'm just missing it, because I'll take that. Again, I can't show it to you here, but you're going to look at it. Google it when you leave here. Yeah, and then come back and leave me a comment and tell me, tell me you're an idiot, man. You're an idiot. Nothing about that. It was just a joke. It was a joke. Right? No big deal. I don't think it's funny, man. I don't think it's funny. Maybe my sense of humor. Maybe I lost my sense of humor. Maybe I'm just not as as funny as I used to be, right? Sense of humor has just really changed up, man. Nobody talked about anything like this back then. It was blasphemous to do so. You're right. You're absolutely right. Right? And it was safe, right? No kid on Different Strokes ended well, right? One star ended up addicted to crack. One ended up dying after doing porn, and the third was a security guard at a mall, I believe, when he passed away. You'd like to think with the money that they made that maybe they wouldn't have to be security at a mall, especially if they're 2.5, 3 feet tall. I'm not being a jackass, but come on, man. Honestly, you look at that guy and go, hey, he'd probably make a great security guard. It's just absolutely awful, honest. Todd, I appreciate that. Well, to be honest, Admiral, go to slapping your kid in front of Nickelodeon. It's designed for perverts. Well, you wouldn't know because you're not a pervert. I think maybe if I had sat down and watched it all, but I think that we got to a point, right? I think we got to a point where we said, well, at least we know this is safe. They're not going to curse on this, right? And we're a lot safer than that, than those crazy, Warner Brothers cartoons, because that's causing people to hurt one another, right? That Wile E. Coyote crap and all those violent cartoons. Oh, for the love of God, let go of it. You feel me? Don't pull on it. Gary Coleman's case, his parents ripped him off. Yeah, well, it's always something, right? Whether it's the industry, whether it's the scumbag parents. How about the book came out last year? I'm glad my mother died. Good God, man. How's that for a title of a book? I'm glad my mother's dead. I think that's actually the name of it. I'm glad my mother's dead. So often it's the parents that are ripping the kids off. This isn't, this is de rigueur, right? This is kind of just what happens. It's disturbing, man, isn't it? You know what? There are people who are going to pick on you just for saying this, but I'll tell you something. Kirk Cameron left the industry as a Christian and only now makes Christian films. And you may hate him, you may disagree with him, you may do whatever, but you know something? He's not doing porn and jumping off of buildings. He's not living in a mobile home ready to OD in the next couple of days. It's been ugly for a lot of those people. Kurt Russell wouldn't let his Goldie Hawn's daughter, do Disney until she got older because he said it was a sick of a place. And her real father, right? What's his daughter's name? Always forget this. I blank out on her name, but her father, right? Had a variety show back in the 70s. Where he was, so her whole family, even her birth father, Hudson, there you go. There used to be the Hudson Brothers Comedy Hour. So the whole family, the Hudson Brother Comedy Hour. And if you ever happen to see the Hudson Brothers Comedy Hour, you will drop in brain cells while watching it. Sadly enough, I watched it as a kid, and I actually remember thinking it was pretty funny as a kid. If you've never gone back and watched stuff that you saw as a kid that you thought was funny, go back and watch that now and go, oh my God. I honestly thought that was funny. Yeah, he was one of the Hudson brothers. That was the Hudson Brothers Razzle Dazzle Show. I believe that's what it was called. Somebody can check that out and see if I'm wrong, but I think it may have had the word razzle dazzle in the title. If anyone ever offers you a show, even if it's going to pay you a lot of money and the word razzle dazzle is in the title of the show, I'd like to believe I would walk away. I probably wouldn't. You know what I mean? I'm an attention whore. But I'd like to believe I would walk away. I think handlers would work the parents, finding secrets, weaknesses, and whatever to control them. And then they had access to the kids. I believe that there's probably some truth to that, right? However, you know something that I think is really sad? I don't think they got to work real hard at it. I don't think they need dirt. I don't think they need any of that. I think a foreign car, a really nice watch. I think that for a lot of parents, this is their opportunity for success without having to do anything. This is their opportunity for fame of sorts without it, right? You may not agree with that, but it's I don't know, people. I'm pretty disturbed at this point. So let's go over Tom Hanks again for those that just got here. His kid has been making an awful lot of videos and coming out and saying straight out his dad's a scumbag. Bottom line, his dad's a dirtbag who doesn't care about him, doesn't care much about the family, but is super into being the most popular and famous person in Hollywood. He's super into taking care of the friends that he's developed. But his kid says that he's way more interested in being famous and, of course, running the Illuminati. I'm not making that up. That's what his kid says. And he points to a large eye tattoo that the sun has in the middle of his chest. Why? Well, I mean, you can maybe because his dad's a creepy bastard and he's kind of come to grips with it, right? But I don't think Tom Hanks is what we always thought that he was, unfortunately. And again, this is another one of those people that another one of those cases that very much like Diddy. The first time I did the Diddy case, and people went, Diddy. As it turns out, I think I was pretty close to the Diddy thing yesterday, man. 3 years of non-smoking? Right up. Shut right up. Who was that? Carol Carr? Dan C. Wait a sec. Where are we at? Where are we at? Riley's human? Off topic. It's never off topic. This is the lifeboat. Yesterday was 3 years of non-smoking after 48. You know what? I'm so glad you're saying this because I was talking about this yesterday. There you go. The official participation trophy of the lifeboat for Riley's human. Tell me, after 48 years of smoking every day, how much better do your lungs feel after 3 years off? There is no organ in the body quite like the lungs. Stop beating the hell out of them, and it takes about 14 days for them to start getting better and really start healing. It's amazing. He's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Tom Hanks. Well, I think you might be right. Yeah, he does have a crazy Instagram, doesn't he? Crypto Beauty says Tom Hanks is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I think he is. And here's what I want, people. I'm getting out in front of this one because I believe, and I have heard this said now, I have now heard this said in two places that cannot be proven to be sure yet. But in two places, there are people who allegedly have been to a lot of these parties who said the biggest freak at all of the freak-offs is Tom Hanks. That nobody was more involved in the depravity of this kind of stuff, especially vis-a-vis youngsters, allegedly, more than Tom Hanks. Did you catch that? Allegedly, he's the freak among freaks of all of these losers. So, I wanted to get out in front of this one because I'm going to be chasing this down, right? And I'm really going to be chasing this down, and I'm going to make you a promise. If it turns out that Mr. Hanks is a great human being, and this is just some kind of a shitty, political thing to damage this guy's career and reputation and family and all of it, you know what I will do? I will come back on here and I will apologize. That's not going to happen. I promise you it's not. What we think about this guy is solid. Yeah, Tom Cruise is also a dirtbag, just a lot shorter. Chet Hanks is his name. He has a crazy Instagram, and that cat looks so much like Moose. It really does, except now Moose is, you know what I mean? I leave for just, a short period of time. And then I see my kitty, and he's like, he looks like he should have a saddle. I'm just saying. I think she's live right now, so I'm not going to catch crap for saying that. But the cat looks like it ought to have a saddle. Feisty Kitty says, I've been trying to tell people about Tom Hanks for years. I'm so glad you agree, Tommy. I'll be honest with you. I am late to the party. I am. I'm late to the party. I didn't want to believe this. I didn't want to believe this. And I started looking at it a hot minute ago. And then I really started to chase down just some of honestly, the most damning piece of evidence is his reaction to Ricky Gervais. You got to see it. You got to see it. I know that look. I know that look. I'm not kidding. I'll tell you a story. I was in the cages in Victorville, right? Victorville Penitentiary. I was in the cages. And there was a guy in the cages who was talking crap about a dude who wasn't there. The guy was in a different prison. And I guess he thought he was safe in the crowd that he was in to talk crap about this guy. But he was not. And somebody said to him, when the guy started to talk crap, he said, the guy you're talking about is a solid dude. One of these days, they're going to put the two of us in the same cage and I'm going to kill you. Right? Said it in absolute certainty. Freaked me out. And I remember talking to the guy and I said, hey, man, you can't be that sure. Right? And he goes, oh, no. No, I'm not sure. He said, the guy that he's talking crap about, I've known for a long period of time. I remember being thoroughly freaked out. Really. I kind of got the same feeling when I started doing stuff on the net. Because there are so many people that say so many things, and I start chasing some of them down, like the Bieber thing, right? I think Bieber got done really dirty by Diddy, right? He didn't go down on Odell Beckham. Not in that clip of film. It never happened. And there are literally now tens of millions of people that believe he did. So I've been slow on the uptake on the Tom Hanks thing. I have been. I've been slow on it. But the more I start chasing this down, and the more I start chasing this down, and the more I start chasing this down, the more I realize that this dude doesn't smell right. He doesn't. And I promise you, I'm going to keep chasing this down. And I'm not going to let any of these people skate. If I'm wrong, I'll show up here and I'll go, hey, man, I'm wrong. I promise. I'll show up here and I'll apologize. It's happened before. I've made mistakes. I don't think I'm making a mistake on this one. So we're going to keep pounding on this guy. And we're going to keep pounding on everybody else. And you know something? In an earlier feed, a person said to me, there's nobody that's going to stop watching films. Who is this guy who's referring to me? Who the hell is going to stop watching films or listening to music? I ain't spending any money on entertainment again as long as I live. You hear me? I'm not playing. I'm done. I'm done. They can prove that somehow it's been eliminated and there's no casting couch, there's no any of that crap. I'm there. I'll join the fun again, right? But in the meantime, it's not going to happen. So who the hell is going to do that? I'm gonna. What do you think of that? I'm gonna. Done. I'm not supporting an industry that treats the talent like slaves, right? To use and abuse and assault and do whatever you want to, right? Because you have more money or a position of power or any of those things. Feisty Kitty says, I stopped years ago. Well, how about that? Eh? How about that? So I'm not crazy. No, I think that there's more of us now than you could possibly imagine. Right? Tom Hanks' son has come out and said, my dad's a scumbag. And the only thing he cares about is Hollywood and the people around him. I got kids. You got to really work hard to make a kid, especially one you gave a ton of money to. I mean, you see the kid? He's driving a Lamborghini. I'm sorry. I'm sure he's had a hell of a career as a rapper. Nevertheless, I'm sure dad had a lot to do with that Lamborghini. Nevertheless, kids coming out and saying who his parents are and what his parents are, right? There's also the always in your face, right out in the open, right? Duper's delight, right? Smiling in your face about, look, this is who we really are. Go back and watch that Tots and Tiara's parody that he did on the Jimmy Kimmel show 13 years ago. Tell me how you think it aged. Tell me how you could be comfortable making that. How did no one watching that go, my God, do you have a 6-year-old on stage saying, talk dirty to me? Are you telling a kid, calling a kid sexy who's 6 on film? How was this a good idea? Even briefly, how was this a good idea? I would imagine he's pretty bummed out that clip out exists. But he wasn't bummed out to make it. I'm telling you, people. And then the Ricky Gervais. Look at how that guy reacted to the Ricky Gervais thing. And there are people who are going to go, that's not evidence. Okay, blow me. Go watch it. Go watch it and tell me what you think. Because I find it disgusting. I really do. I find it absolutely disgusting. And I feel like we all spent an awful lot of time believing that these people are special, right? Somehow we should care about what they think, right? What are their pet projects? You know, what political leanings do they have, and are they important? Because this person thinks that, maybe that. Who gives a crap? Honestly. Even if they're great people, they're entertainers. Why is this? I don't know, man. I don't know. I think I'm tired of the casting couch thing. That really needs to go away. And I don't believe that there's a solution. I don't. Maybe they'll come up with one. In the interim, I'm not going to let them get $1 off of me. Nor am I going to allow them to be idolized anymore without at least my small, insignificant platform hurling crap at them. Makes me feel good. And it makes me feel like I'm doing something that I ought to be doing as opposed to just not doing anything anymore. I'm done doing nothing. Hope the rest of you are. It's not hard to just go. The Ricky Gervais thing was when Ricky Gervais hosted the Academy Awards, he came out and started doing jokes about pederasts, about Jeffrey Epstein. And when he does, people go, they start looking around and doing like this isn't funny. And he goes, what? It's not my friend. He was your friend. He's not my friend. And the cameraman went to Tom Hanks. And they probably regret going to Tom Hanks because the look on his face was a combination of horror and disgust. Equal measures, horror and disgust. And I don't think, if you go and watch it, you let me know what you think. If I'm wrong, I'll apologize. I won't have to. People, I don't feel well. I really don't. But this was a subject I want to get out in front. And I think it's so bad at this point that there's probably a decent chance we're going to end up seeing this one blow up in our face. You also may want to look up what happened to his friend who hopped off of a bridge after he was bold enough to come out and say, hey, Tom Hanks told me he liked kitties. Interesting story. All right, peeps. That's the news, and I am out of here. Between now and the next time I run into you, reach out and try to save somebody. I'm sorry, people. I'm exhausted. I'm going to be asleep before I get out of this room. But I will see you all in the next one. Between now and the next time I see you, reach out and try to save somebody, all right? Have a great night. Bye-bye.